Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a digital artist based in Dundee, and I'm here today to talk to you about my creative path up until this point, in the hopes that it might help some of you find your creative feet again, given the impact lockdown has had on some of us. I hope that you find it interesting, or maybe even useful. My specialisation in university was game art, and I loved video games from a very young age. The idea of working in games felt like a pipe dream, so I worked very hard to get the skills to be able to be part of that industry. All the while, in my spare time, I would be building props in my craft room, making clothes, costumes, and expressing myself day to day with my personal style, and also attending cosplay events. Now, cosplay events were the highlight of my year, not only because you could show off a costume that you'd spent ages working on, but also it was a chance to become someone else. You could embody a character who was larger than life, who pushes the limits of the real into the surreal. For that one day at convention, you were an actor, and the convention hall would be your stage. Some types of people would find that super overwhelming, but I found myself feeling so alive and connected to everyone else around me. It's really amazing that a simple costume can do that, can basically make you feel like part of a group and yet elevated beyond who you actually are. Time progressed and my hard work paid off. I was employed straight out of university as an environment artist at Puny Astronaut. I was creating beautiful 3D assets for a fantasy exploration game called Skytales. I worked with some amazing people and my skills increased tenfold. I was creating really awesome work, and yet I would count down the hours until I was back home in my craft room making the next prop. It was in the early stages of lockdown that I started to feel the isolation of sitting at my desk. There were no cosplay events on the horizon for obvious reasons, and my life started to feel like one big stretch of 9 to 5. As many people did, I found solace on the internet, browsing forums, and by complete chance, fell into the wonderful world of kigurumi. Now, you might ask, what is kigurumi? Well, kigurumi is a blend of two Japanese words, one which is kiru, which means to wear, and the other nuigurumi, which means stuffed toy. It is the practice of dressing as a character from head to toe, usually by wearing a mask that encompasses your entire head. Characters like Mickey Mouse and football mascots are referred to as kigurumi in Japan. Even though those are examples most familiar to us, there is no limit to what a kigurumi costume can be. It can be anything from a replica of your favourite doll's head or a strange monster from the abyss. I found kigurumi to be another extension of the surreal that I had so fiercely fell in love with at conventions. I had to learn how to make them. And in doing so, I realised that it bridged the gap between my work skills and the skills that I had learnt in pursuit of my hobbies. The initial concept work and then sculpting the actual design of the mask mirrors the start pipeline of creating a 3D asset for a game, but that is where the comparisons end, for the rest involves paintwork, knowledge of hard materials, and wig work, all of which are a cosplayer's wheelhouse. The one gap in my knowledge, however, was 3D printing, which is becoming more prevalent every year as it becomes more affordable. As it stands, you can get a really decent 3D printer to print things of this size for about £400. As a 3D artist, there's nothing quite like holding your work in your hands. In creating my first prototype, I had to account for things like airflow, visibility, and general comfort of wear. It was a trial and error process for sure, but it was crucial for the final product. My prototype received a very enthusiastic reception online, and it really motivated me to stick with it, and ultimately it resulted in me leaving my full-time job. I am in the beginning stages of this business, but I am very grateful to have had requests from all over the world for all manners of monsters and animals. Some of my clients use these masks to complement their eccentric personal style, which I am completely on board with. My personal inspirations come from Japanese animation, monster art, kabuki masks, folklore, and 90s toys. It's all fair game as long as it stays bright and bizarre. If there's anything you can take away from my creative path, it's to not be afraid to dive into something head first. I think risk in moderation is great. I think it challenges your status quo, I think it challenges what you think you are capable of. Life is short, and if there's something you feel is missing from your routine, it's always worth the struggle to try and incorporate it back in, even if at the end you just learn something new. If you are interested in looking at more examples of kigurumi, I really recommend these artists. They produce fantastic work, and if you are somehow interested in what I get up to, you can follow me here and here. And thank you for listening to me, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day.